Hi, folks. Welcome to Poor Uncle Joe's Sunday afternoon story. Now, the story I have for you today is a little different. It's not humorous, so don't look for a punchline, but I think it's a significant story. This happened about 13 years ago. My daughter asked me if I could take a day off from work. She needed to attend a meeting and she needed somebody to watch her daughter. So I said, sure. I had a lot of time off coming. So I took a full day off and I went up to babysit. After about 3 hours, my daughter came home and she said, my meeting is over. You're free for the rest of the day to take off. So I left and I didn't know what to do for the rest of the day. So I decided to take a walk in our local park, Naog Park, which is a very nice park. It's pretty large and it's got a stream flowing through it called Roaring Brook. And in the springtime, Roaring Brook really roars and it goes into a very beautiful waterfall. And a lot of people go there to see that. And over the millennium, that water has cut quite a channel through the rock there, and it's produced a gorge that's very steep on both sides. It's like a ravine. And it was springtime, the end of March, and there was still quite a bit of snow on the ground. So you had to be careful where you walked. Now, the park, there weren't many people in it, but the park did have a small zoo in those days. And the zoo was still open. It's closed these days, but at that time it was still open. Unfortunately, on this day, I had forgotten to bring my cell phone along, and that's kind of important to this story. So I went for a walk in Naog and I decided to view the waterfall from the east side. Most people look at it from the west, which is very easy to get to, but the east side is a little more difficult. You have to cross the water on a bridge and then turn right onto this dirt path that takes you over to a high spot where you can watch the waterfall. And in the summer, a lot of people go there. But again, it was the end of March and it was still pretty cold. So I crossed the bridge and I went to where the top of the path is, where I should have turned right to look at the waterfall. But for some reason, I decided to turn left. Now, when you turn left, there's not much there except the woods, and you are on the side of that ravine, so it's a steep hill like this. And I started in through the woods. There's no path going that way. I was just walking along and holding on to the trees to make sure I wouldn't slip and fall in the ravine. And I got in there, maybe 50, 60 yards. Again, watching my step because of the snow. And I looked down and there was a body, face down, completely clothed in heavy clothes, with a hat on, just lying there, not moving. Well, I work for a healthcare organization. And they make certain that we're trained in first aid and CPR. So my first instinct was to go down and see if I could help this poor person, who I assumed had fallen. But then I thought, I've seen a lot of those police shows, crime shows on television, and they always stress that if it's a crime scene, you don't want to disturb it. So I thought maybe I shouldn't. The person was not moving. I thought maybe I shouldn't go down and touch them. Well, I remembered that the zoo was opened. So I turned around, I went backwards. Unfortunately, like I said, I didn't have my cell phone. I went backwards over the bridge again and up to the zoo to get some help. I remember there was an older woman and two young guys in their 20s working there. And I said, somebody call the police. I said, I just found a body down by the bridge. Well, the older woman said, I'll call the police. She said, you go back down there with these two young guys and wait for the police. So the three of us went back down over the bridge and up to where the path was. And the one guy said, I'm going to wait here to show the police where you are. And the other guy went with me to go in by the body. So we went in, and again, we didn't want to touch this person because we feared they were dead. So we started making some noise, hey buddy, are you okay? Are you all right there? Not a sound. Well, finally the police showed up, and the cop's first question was, "Who found him?" And the other guy points at me, and then he says, "Who is he?" I said, "I don't know. I'm just going for a walk." He said, "You're going for a walk back here in the woods, in the snow, and nobody." I said, "Well, that's what I was doing." And he said, "You don't go anywhere." He said, "The detective's going to want to talk to you." I said, "Oh boy. I'm standing here, I'm cold, I'm losing a day off, and now I got to wait for the detective." Well, the cop and me and the other young guy, we went over to the body. And the cop reached down and he shook the body a little bit, and the person moaned. So we knew he wasn't dead. And the cop said, "Let's roll him over." So we rolled him over, and guess what? It was a girl. It was a young lady. She was dressed. The way she was dressed, it was hard to tell that she wasn't a man, but it was a girl. My guess would be she was around 20. And underneath her was a bottle of Johnnie Walker Red Scotch. It's a pretty good drink to be drinking out in the woods, but it is what it is. So pretty soon the ambulance arrived, and they got her on a stretcher and got her back through the woods. And finally the detective showed up. His first question to me was, "Who is she?" I said, "I don't know, buddy. I'm just going for a walk." He said, "Back here? Nobody goes." I said, I know. Nobody goes for a walk back here, but I did. I said, "Listen, I've been standing out here in the cold for an hour and a half waiting for you to get here. I took a day off from work. I'm cold. I'm wet. The clock is ticking on my day off. Right now, you know everything I know. All I know is there was somebody laying there. That's all I know." So I gave him my business card. I said, "Here, if you want to talk to me, give me a call tomorrow. I'm working tomorrow. I'll be happy to talk to you, but I don't know anything else. This is all I know, is she was laying here." So he said, "Okay, you can go." Well, that seems like the end of the story, but it really isn't. To this day, I wonder what possessed me to turn left and go into the woods. I don't know if you believe in divine intervention, but something told me to go that way, and because of it, we may have saved that girl's life. Do you remember what Robert Frost said about the road not taken? Well, if you hear a little voice in your head telling you, "Go this way," and everybody else is going the other way, maybe you should listen to that voice. Well, that's it for today, folks. I hope you'll tune in next week for Poor Uncle Joe's Sunday afternoon story. Thanks.